and kind of flip it back on those people and say, oh, how dare you put it on the woman? You know, men should control themselves. I feel like people have refrained from talking about it. And so there's a lot of young girls that are dressing inappropriately, or even older girls, just out of ignorance.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Family Business Podcast with the Alessis. My name is Gaby Alessi, and I'm here with my sisters on a sister episode today. Ladies, how are we feeling?
Good. We're feeling great.
Yeah.
So glad to be doing this. But this is the first time we've ever done it, just us three.
This is the first time we've ever been in the podcast, us three girls, and we're going to talk about a really fun topic today. But we just want to remind everybody, the reason why this podcast is so important is because family is everybody's business. And so we're going to get to some of the business that you might have with family, that you might have with some friends. And then before we get into it, look at this merch on the table, ladies.
Wow.
Stephanie, why don't you pick one and show it to the crowd that you like the most?
Okay. Well, of course I have.
That one's so cute.
That's
I have
adorable.
to bring this to everybody's attention. Here you go. I don't know where I was looking. This is adorable. Definitely getting Gia and Matthew one of these. But my personal favorite would have to be the gray.
I like the gray
hoodie.
sweater.
Yeah.
I love
That's my favorite.
the gray sweater. Lauren, would you like to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everybody. I totally agree. The gray sweatshirt is a favorite. I've already ordered mine.
It's super, super nice. So make sure you get yours today. You can go to the website and you can get your merch, your Family Business Podcast merch. All right, let's get into the topic today. We're excited for this one. This is a topic for all girls, for sisters, for daughters. And if you are listening, watching, then we would all encourage you guys to right now share this link of this podcast episode. If you have daughters, if you have cousins, if you have nieces, a mom, whatever it is, that is all the ladies in your life, this is going to be an episode for them. And we're going to talk about the hot topic of modesty. What is your saying, Stephanie?
Modesty is hottesty.
Modesty is hottesty, and we're going to jump right into it. The reason why we want to discuss it is because recently we've seen that modesty has been kind of put on the back burner. It's been overlooked, but also become a major argument in the feminist movement of girls don't need to be modest. Why do we need to be the ones that are modest? A lot of different things when it comes to this topic of modesty. So let's jump into it. And let's just kind of discuss our take on it as a family, but then also present some biblical values too. Because what we like to do with this podcast is we talk about things that we necessarily can't talk about on the stage every Sunday. So let's get into it.
But also tell them our plan, Gaby.
So this is a plan. I didn't know we were going to tell everybody the
I
plan.
didn't know we were gonna, okay, go
So
ahead.
basically we have a list of questions. I have a list of questions that I'm going to spew out to my sisters, and we wanted to make this conversation in this episode as real as possible. So they have not told me their answers. We have not really discussed all of the points that we're going to discuss. So we're going to go for it and really take you into the living room or conversation with the Alessi Muña girls, and dive into it. So do you guys have any
for
funny...
Alan and Ashley, this is totally improv.
Oh, man.
So just
Surprise!
hang on.
Probably going to have to bleep out some... I'm kidding, no.
No, we could do it.
We could do it. Okay, so let me ask you guys this. Do you have any funny stories or any even real experiences growing up where maybe you were tested when it came to modesty, or you were checked in your own view of modesty? Thoughts?
To you?
I have several. I can't point to a specific one because I feel like, yeah, I have several. I can empathize with the girls who are a little confused by the thought of modesty a little bit, but still, I think, as a Christian and as a woman who's become a little bit older,
Yeah.
it's very clear why we need to stay modest as girls and as women, why we need to kind of hold that to a certain standard. Now that I'm older, I fully understand that. But as a young girl, I kind of liked to sort of have fun a little bit. I mean, I always knew where not to cross the lines.
Yeah.
And you moved to Hawaii for a short time where it was like freedom.
Yeah, and
that was the culture. It wasn't
that
anything.
was the culture.
Wearing a two-piece in Hawaii was literally wearing like
shorts and a
a
t-shirt.
t-shirt here.
Yeah, it was normal. So,
But
yeah.
then here.
Yeah, you
in
can't do that.
And then you got
here.
home, and then your dad was like, "What?" No.
Yeah.
Steph, what about you?
No, because that wasn't really my style. Was more modest. My style was more conservative, and it would change every 2 months. So no, I don't know. I didn't have any moments like that. I will say, not that I would wear things inappropriate. I would wear things that did make me look more attractive
Mm-hmm.
when I was in my single years and like dating, and I looked very different from how I look right now, and I looked very good. I loved how I looked then, and I showed it. And I never did anything inappropriate. I like
Yeah.
Lolo. I never crossed the line, but my heart definitely used what I wore to attract, because it was like, I'm single. I'm ready to mingle.
Yeah.
And I did have to like sometimes tell myself like, okay, are you doing this to just like look pretty and whatever, or is this coming out of a bad heart? But that was the only time. And then when I got pregnant, it was like, cover me up. Nobody look at me, please.
Well, I think it's interesting because we live in a city that's a very sexy city.
Mhm.
Like Miami. First of all, it's
Oh
like
my
the weather
gosh.
doesn't help us.
You can't wear a sweater.
No, you can't wear something that's long sleeve. You can't wear a turtleneck. You can't wear something. So already it's one of those cities where it's like the weather kind of pushes you to wear less clothing.
Yes.
If you literally want to survive. But then also,
From your workplace to your car.
yeah. But then also, I think the culture
Yeah.
is very flaunt it while you have it.
Yes.
And we
yes.
see it, I mean, even in youth ministry and growing up, we see that a lot of it's when you're younger, you show it. And the mentality is you show it off because one day you won't be able to, because you have the body now,
Yeah.
and take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And I still think that there's a way for us to present ourselves in a nice way, to look attractive and to be beautiful without flaunting what our mom gave us in a way,
Yeah.
you know? And I think the conversation needs to be had with young girls, because honestly, I feel like because the feminist movement has become so loud nowadays and has tried to take over the conversation of modesty and kind of flip it back on those people and say, oh, how dare you put it on the woman, you know, men should control themselves. I feel like people have refrained from talking about it. And so there's a lot of young girls that are dressing inappropriately, or even older girls, just out of ignorance.
Yeah.
That they don't hear from parents anymore. They don't hear from
Yeah.
friends anymore. So that's where I think with you guys, or with this conversation, it's good for us to talk about, like, first of all, what is modesty? How do we actively live that out and walk that out? Why do we do it? And then how can we live lives that are presentable to God and presentable to just culture? You know, like there's a spiritual aspect too, but then there's also just a realistic aspect.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because when Steph was talking about, you know, like some girls do dress up for men and to get attention, or just to get attention from anybody.
Yeah.
And it's interesting for me. I always felt like if I ever dressed, when I dressed inappropriately, it was always like just out of complete ignorance. Like I never even thought about attention. And so I'm glad that you say that some girls do dress out of complete ignorance.
Yeah.
They just don't know. They haven't been taught.
Yeah.
And not everybody dresses to get attention. Some people just really aren't told. And it's until you get older and your eyes are open a little bit more and you're like, hold on a second. Like, I should not have worn that just because it didn't
really.
look good.
No.
I know
bad
you look back on the
look.
photos like, what the heck was I thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, bad look. And ultimately, I want to be presentable to the world. When I leave my house, I want to look good. Like, I should look put together. But then ultimately, I want to be presentable before God. But I think that's important to distinguish that not all girls dress for attention.
No.
Some girls just genuinely, like, for me, I was completely ignorant to the fact. I was just like...
And let's also consider that when you go to the store, like we just had our homecoming dance for the youth group, and I got so many texts. We had to put like hey, here's what we recommend, like the dress code and all of that. And I got so many texts from moms and like aunts and stuff, and they were like, we don't even know where to shop for our daughter.
Yeah.
Like we can't even get, everywhere you go, it's spaghetti straps, fishnet, super tight clothes, and then high, short like dresses for these young girls. And even when they went to the adult stores, they couldn't find anything because then it was low cut. Everything was just inappropriate.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to part of this is the society that we live in.
Yeah.
So some of them do it for attention, but some of them do it because they're following the trends.
Yeah.
But that's where you have to look back and say, okay, well then am I, even if I'm not trying to do it just to get someone's attention, am I dressing in a way that is showing and representing a good godly image?
Yeah.
So yes, it is what they're selling, and
Yeah.
you're not doing it for men, totally. But why don't you just first start doing it for yourself and for your relationship with the Lord?
Yeah.
And I think that's what every young girl should be focusing on right now. Because yes, the topic of guys does get in the way. Guys are looking, men are just more visual creatures.
Yeah.
And they're just attracted to things like that. You cannot stop them and you cannot blame them.
Yeah.
The minute you start to blame them, you're blaming biology, and then you're going to never really find the answer that you're looking for. That's just how they're created.
Mm-hmm.
So I think before you get into the argument of, well, don't do it because you don't want your brother to stumble, I think you need to do it for yourself first. And you need to say, I want to walk in a manner that's pleasing to God and then pleasing to myself.
Yeah, because it comes back to that whole idea of what's the standard for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what standard are you going to pass on? And that you'll really ask yourself that question when you have a daughter of your own that you want to protect for the rest of her life. And it's like, I have Gia, and when I saw her just looking so cute one day, I was like, oh crap, I have a pretty daughter. And what if she's beautiful? And I thought, what if I have a beautiful daughter? I don't want a beautiful daughter anymore because I'm going to have
burden.
to. It's freaky because I'm the protector.
Yeah.
And her father's the protector. And Lord knows how that's going to turn out. And I'm going to have to teach her. But there's so many different routes that you can take. Yes, guys are going to look at you. Yes, you shouldn't be showing your skin too much. But it's more than that. It's more of what standard are you going to hold yourself to without anybody having to tell you? Like, what's your personal conviction on how you need to present yourself?
Yeah.
And I saw an Instagram reel the other day talking about Italians, about how one of the things that they do is they really believe how they present themselves to the world is how you respect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you view yourself. And I think Spaniards are the exact same way. And it's true. How you walk out of your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's also tie in girls that don't dress up. That just wear.
I was going to say that.
I was thinking the same
that just
thing.
literally wear sweats. And they're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go out. I'm just with my friends. Girls that you just don't put any effort into how you're presenting yourself. It really is a reflection of how you see yourself.
Yes.
And that's the question you have to ask. Am I presenting myself as a confident young woman of God who thinks I'm beautiful enough to protect?
Yes.
By covering.
Yeah.
You know?
Your presentation is how you are presenting yourself.
Yeah.
So what do you want to present when you walk into a room? What do you want other people to see? And what do you want other people to know about you, to think about you? And no, I think, yes, it's like the whole thing of, it doesn't matter what people say about you, yes, but at the same time, it does. You want to be professional when you're in your work environment. You want to walk into the office, you should have your hair done. You should have some makeup on. You should have you're presenting yourself to the office in a way. You're presenting yourself to your boss, to your manager. So you want to present to them that you're professional, that you're mature, that you're responsible. When you're around your friends, when you're going, this even goes into dating relationships.
Oh my
How do you
gosh.
dress when you go on a date, you know? Because I think here's the funny thing. If you're talking to teenage girls, it only gets harder. Because when you become a young adult, you're responsible for yourself. And then you have to make the decision of, do I actually want to wear this, or do I want to protect myself? There was a couple weeks ago, we went out to this restaurant with a bunch of our friends, and I wore like this white romper, and it was like this long romper. I was covered up. Nothing was showing. Frankly, it was one of those outfits that it's like, just show a little bit of your neck. My gosh. It was like super, it was very modest. But it was a white outfit. It was a beautiful, beautiful outfit. I loved it. And I was walking through the restaurant, and I saw this older guy, and I was like, this guy's looking at me. And it's disgusting. I hated it. And he did the
Suddenly it
whole,
all
like, I
changes.
walked by him, he looked at me from this side, and then when I walked by him, he actually turned and, like, looked again. And I wanted to curl up in a ball. I was like, I want to go home, I want to put a robe on, I want to cover up entirely. And it just so gave me this feeling, it was like, it gave me the ick.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I don't want to do this. But it did make me realize I am in a season and I am becoming a woman and I am looking a certain way where I don't want people to see me that way.
Yeah.
I don't want men to look at me that way. It has nothing to do with you taking responsibility. No, I don't want you to look at me that way.
Yeah.
And if there's something that I can do on the front end to just protect myself and present myself in a more professional or a more modest way, then I am going to do that. Because ultimately, I want to protect what I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you also, did you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
I think something to go back to is how to dress when you are dating, either like in the dating world or you are dating somebody specifically.
Yeah.
And I learned very quickly that every single girl, and I say this with purity of heart, every single girl is very smart. And
Yeah.
we know what can get a reaction out of a guy. We do.
Yeah.
And it's actually our gift because
Yeah.
we need that when you're married. You need that to protect yourself too. But we can use that to our advantage
Yeah.
when we're trying to attract men. And we use that to our advantage when you're trying to attract the person that you are dating and
Yeah.
you like when they like how you look. Especially when you're married. Like you're like, I really hope I bought this dress specifically for you. And that starts very early in a girl's brain.
Yeah.
Like very early.
Yeah.
Too early.
It does.
early.
It does.
Gosh, Gianna walk in the room and be like, Daddy.
Oh,
and she's
my
wearing her little
gosh.
dress and she loves to show her dad her dress. But it's I think every girl has to just admit it.
Yep.
You know what can get a guy's reaction.
Yeah.
And if you know, then you have to practice that control. And you have to practice that gift.
Yeah.
Save it for marriage. Save that gift for marriage. Do
Yeah.
not use it now. But come to the realization that you know, man, like
Well, and okay, I think it's a great thing for a girl to be like, I want to walk into a room and have a presence about me. Like,
Yeah.
even if she's married, be like, I want to have the presence of I'm this man's wife. You know, like you can do that without flaunting everything. And I was always the girl who was like, I love fashion. I have loved fashion all my life. So when I would see, and I still see the trends going a certain way that now I'm just like, this isn't even fashion. This is just goofy.
Yeah.
But you're like, how do I like match up with this? Because it's not even stuff I like to wear. But I'll never forget, I heard a quote from Alexander McQueen. And if you haven't looked into his designs, you need to look into his designs. And he's like, I think women are so cool and so powerful that I want to make designs that make people fear what women are wearing, that make people fear women because I just think they're so powerful and so strong. But I was like, man, that's awesome in a certain way. Like, I don't agree with that fully, but I like that he's designing clothes that women
Yeah.
can put on that gives women a presence.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the idea of like have a presence about you,
Yeah.
not one that's like half naked. But
Yes.
like,
Yes.
walk into a room and put nice makeup on, do your hair, like wear your heels. That was something our grandfather would always tell
Oh
us.
my
Like when we
gosh.
would go all out in our outfit, he would always like really, really compliment us on
Appreciate it.
and really appreciate it because he's like, thank you. And he was Italian, so he really appreciated that and he grew up with that concept. But I don't think it's bad for a woman, because naturally that's in us, to want someone to go, hey, your outfit, you stepped it up and you
Yeah.
look amazing today. I think that's naturally in us. But it's when you're manipulating it for the wrong reasons
Yeah.
that, okay, it goes bad. And I think we just need to make sure our hearts and our minds are in a pure place
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
making sure it comes from, a really great place, because we've all seen that woman who dresses up for attention from men. She gets the guy and then she wears sweats and no makeup and never does her hair again. And it's like,
oh my god.
okay, so who are you dressing up for? And then
Exactly.
you see some girls that they're just consistent with their style, and even after they get married, they have this presence about them.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of like modesty I
Exactly.
aspire to be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not dressing up to achieve anything. That's just who you are.
Yes.
That's your presence.
And you're consistent with it.
Yeah.
And I'd also say, especially for the younger girls listening, if you feel the need to dress in you wear the tube top, you wear the crop top, you wear the short shorts, if you wear that, then just know you're going to get the wrong person's attention.
Yeah.
You're going to get the wrong guy's attention. You are not going to get a respectable guy that's going to treat you right and that's going to respect you and your boundaries.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, because a respectable guy, and it's not to throw anybody under the bus, but a respectable guy and a mature guy looks at a girl that wears that and he's like, I don't want to be with somebody like that. Because guys also want you to protect yourself and your body, because they're like, I am the only one that wants that. You know, like, I want to have you and only you, and I want you to be mine, and I don't want anyone to see that.
Yeah.
So a good, respectable guy that you're going to really love and that's going to take care of you is not going to be attracted to a girl that's wearing a short skirt or short shorts or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's where keep dressing modestly, and obviously don't do it for the guy, but you will have a guy that notices you even when you wear the long sleeves or you
And
wear
girls
long
now
pants.
too.
And girls, yeah.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure you're getting the right attention and it's from the right person.
Yeah, you know, if I had to tell my daughter this when she was 15, 16, I would tell her, okay, let's look at somebody who creates the trends of the immodest clothing. Let's look at the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody's married.
No.
And the
Yeah.
one that just got married, she was hung up on another guy for like 15 years.
And she's the most modest one.
You're right. She's the most modest. And all the other ones are not, they can't keep a husband.
No.
They can't keep a respectable man around. They have kids, but their kids are disrespectful. And then look at somebody who promotes modesty, Victoria Beckham. Look at her life.
Yep.
She has a husband that's been in her life. She has kids. And then the one time she started dressing immodestly was when she was having struggles in her marriage. And I would tell my daughter, okay, the person that set that trend of that tube top,
Yeah.
what's their life? What's the fruit of their life? Who are they attracting? What jobs do they have?
Yeah.
Because Kendall's making a tequila brand.
Yeah.
Victoria Beckham has a legendary fashion line. She
Yeah.
has her family together. And no, it's not people to aspire to become.
No.
But it's just an example. Go into those stores. Look at the pictures of the models surrounding you.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of girl you want to be? Because that's what the clothes will turn you into.
It's so true.
Well, also just like practically speaking, we spend so much money on our clothes. Like, why are we wearing so little of it?
I know.
I think that all the time. When I see the classic, like I see so many young girls and they're wearing the same thing. And it's like the tube top with the baggy, like high-rise jeans and then like the Air Forces. And I'm like, I know you have so many, like what I would give to go to your closet and just like help you
Yeah.
out. Because you're spending so much money on your clothes and it's good clothes. Just wear more.
Yeah.
Put a
And can we
jacket
just be
over it.
real? It's not that cute.
No.
It's not cute.
It's not that cute.
It's not.
Everybody
It's not.
wore that in the 2000s.
Everybody's wearing
It's
it.
been done.
Yeah.
Do something else. I love, what are those, the twin sisters? I always forget their names.
Olsen's?
The Olsen twins.
Yeah.
I love them
Mary
because
Kate
they,
and Ashley.
yes,
Super,
because they have found their style and they don't change it with the culture. They got a goofy style, but
Yeah.
it's their style. Victoria Beckham has her style and
Yeah.
she is not changing it. And like you said, the Kendall Jenner is dating Bad Bunny, who in his recent video has like 50 women all around him. I do not want a guy that is
She
just
also
surrounded by women.
Does not speak Spanish.
She also does not speak Spanish, and he doesn't really speak English, so that's
I
a
don't
whole
know what's
different
happening
thing.
there.
And I would say this as we're coming to the end of it. This isn't just how you dress every single day. It's also when it comes to like posting, because now we're in a very digital
I was
world.
just going to bring that up, Gabby.
And I would say, look at us.
Look
in
at God. Look
tune.
at us. Look at us.
Okay, this is something that's been stirring up in my spirit.
Say
In
it.
my head, especially for the young girls. We are in a very tech world right now. Just actually like 2 hours ago, my phone was notifying me that someone was trying to hack into my Instagram.
Oh my God.
Instagram is full of hackers, is full of scammers and all of that. So young girls listening, you have to be very mindful that you do not control who sees your Instagram and you do not control who sees your Snapchat. You don't control who sees your TikToks. You think you in your room with your booty shorts on and your little tank top, and I'm just going to be honest, with your no bra on, and you're doing a TikTok dance, you think that it's only the boys that you want to see are actually viewing that, and you don't realize that there's probably grown men that live in other countries that are trying to get your attention, that are trying to message you, are trying to befriend you to get something from you.
Yeah.
Most of the time they want money, but other times they want other things. And you're seeing nowadays sex trafficking is everywhere.
Yeah.
And so it does start with the daily decisions of what you're going to wear, but it does go into what you're posting.
Yeah.
And so girls everywhere have to be super mindful of what we are putting out, what we are allowing the internet to have about us, because people will take that, they'll use that. We can screen share and screen record everything today. So we need to be the most protected and the most on edge when we're posting things and be so mindful to where we're saying, you know what, I'm not going to post this of myself because I don't know who's going to get this photo.
Man.
You can send something to your guy friend and he sends it to all of his guy friends. And that's like the one thing you wish would happen with all the stuff that could happen to you today.
God.
So I think when it comes to even how you live, because we live a lot on social media, young girls, don't post those photos.
Yeah.
Don't wear those outfits. Don't take a photo of you in bed and send it to a boyfriend. You cannot fully trust that guy.
Yeah, and when you brought up social media, my first thought has really been, is the girl that I'm meeting in person the same girl that I see on Instagram? Most of the time, it is not. And what it's a sign of is you just don't know your self-image yet, so you're using a platform to create your image.
Yeah.
Or to just try out different images. Because I'll see girls dress up in the cutest outfit, take a 400 photos, post them all, and then I see them on Sunday, and they are not dressed anything like that. They don't even act anything like that.
So true.
And I'm like, that's not who you are. Instagram isn't telling me honestly who you are. So then, do you know who you are?
Yeah.
Let me take it even further. Do you like who you are?
Yeah.
Do you like it? Because you obviously want to change it on a social media platform. And that's why Modesty, it goes so deep, because it asks you the question, do you know and do you like yourself?
Yeah.
Do you know what God is creating you to be?
Yeah.
Are you okay with being in a gray area but not using a platform to fake it? Are you okay with just going through a couple years of figuring out your style but not faking a confidence, but actually developing a real genuine confidence and security in yourself? Because social media does not help at all.
No.
It does not help that cause whatsoever. If anything, it takes it away from you.
It does. It does. Anything else, Lo?
Yeah, I would just say, well, two things. I'm really glad we didn't go far into like the feminist conversation, because the truth is, we have like a distant family member who's like a hardcore feminist, but it's like, even she never dresses like how we immodestly.
No, she doesn't.
And I have friends that are hardcore feminists. I've had like conversations with them. They never dress for what feminists are, quote unquote, fighting for these days.
No.
So like, I just don't really understand. I'm glad we didn't get into that argument, because it's so fleeting, and it's really, anybody who fights for that really isn't fighting for a real cause. I'm glad we didn't get on that topic too much. But I also wanted to say, for the girls listening that are maybe like, well, you know, maybe I could just have fun while I'm young, and then when I get older and I get married and I settle down, that's when I'll start being modest. You can do that, and you can live that way, and you can work it out when you get older. But the truth is, you'll always look back with some sort of shame and guilt and just sort of overall embarrassment.
Yeah.
And that's where I would just say, if you're listening to this and you feel some sort of guilt and you feel some sort of like, what's the word? I can't think of it. If you just feel like, okay, you know, maybe this is hitting me, then just start to dress more modestly. Just already start that, because we do live in a very big culture of, oh, well, you could just fix that when you get older.
Yeah.
Or, what, you know, get it out while you're young. So you will always look back on this season of just embarrassment. Like,
Regret. You don't want to go back and change it. It's true.
Yep.
So yeah, that's all I have to say.
That's so good. Last thing I want to share here, and I found this article by Nancy DeMoss Wolgemuth. I don't even know how to say her last name. But she actually has heart check questions when it comes to what you're wearing. And I love these questions. Number one, it says, what statement do my clothes make about my heart? What statement do my clothes make about my heart? And these are great questions to even ask yourself if you're listening. What basically do my clothes say about my heart? Number 2, in choosing what clothes to wear today, whose attention do I desire and whose approval do I crave? Am I seeking to please God or impress others? Number 3, who am I trying to identify with through my dress? Is it the Word of God, my standard? Or is the Word of God my standard? Or is it the latest fashion? And lastly, have I asked other godly individuals to evaluate my wardrobe? These are some great questions that I hope we can share with you guys so you guys can have them. But if you're listening, write them down, go back, put me on slower speed and write it down because it's a good heart check.
Yeah.
Modesty and how we dress isn't just something, oh, I just threw this on today. Us girls know that is probably the biggest lie that all girls will have, that I just threw this on. You probably picked it out last night, the night before work, or the night before the party, or you went and shopped for it. There's a lot of thought that we put into what we wear.
Yeah.
And so we want to continue to encourage you, all the girls listening, to evaluate what you're wearing and to think twice about what you're wearing. What are you saying to people? Are you trying to get a guy's attention? If so, is it the right guy? And is it the right season to get his attention? When you're dating, it might not be the best season to dress fully for him. Wait for marriage and those things. But to think more about your modesty and to really pray about how are you going to present yourself. So we hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Girls, I think this was awesome.
Yes, it was really fun.
It was fun.
So thanks again for joining us here at the Family Business Podcast with the Alessis. Please make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share this video, comment, do all the things, and make sure you share this with a special girl that you might think needs to hear this. This is it for us today. Hope you guys have a great one.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and click on the notifications bell so you can be notified for all of our future videos. And if you loved today's topic, we have plenty more. And you can click on this link right here to watch all of our videos so you can learn why family is everybody's business.